Welcome to Sacred Heart Tarot. If you are drawn to this reading, that probably means that you have the gift of sight and you're trying to navigate a world that is still very much asleep. Today we are outside. We're enjoying the beautiful weather that I'm having here in Michigan. It's finally cooled off a little bit. I'm ready for fall. I will say I hope my audio is okay because we've definitely got some yard work going on in the background. We've got a little wind chimes. I hope the wind chimes get picked up because I think you'll find that to be very soothing during this reading, which is good because the purpose of this reading is to ask Spirit for grounding, clarifying, perhaps even uplifting messages. I made the mistake of opening Facebook a few moments ago and promptly needed to exit the internet as quickly as possible. So I would like to ask the guides. Now, I've got a couple different decks here. I am going to move these out of the way. This is not my usual setup, so we'll have to kind of make do here. But I'm going to be asking Spirit to ground the message, to ground the energy for us, maybe help shed some light on what the collective is experiencing, what we're going through right now. I think that could be potentially really helpful. I'm going to shuffle these off camera here because I'm a little far away from you. But I would like Spirit, if we could take a moment here, if we could have some light shed upon the energies in the collective right now and how you would like us to ground this. Here we go. How you would like us to ground this, how you would like us to navigate this that we are experiencing. I'm going to start with these three. Okay, we've got, we've got deliverance. Yeah, there it is. We've got melancholy and we've got the old devil. Wow. Hold on, let me sit back in my chair because I've got a lot to say about this. So I filmed the intro for this reading a couple of times, and I think I got rid of this part, so I'm going to have to talk about it again because this is the direction the reading is taking us in. When I opened Facebook, the thing that I stumbled upon was the Lindsay Clancy murder trial. And the reason it struck me so much is because there seems to be this purging of energies very specifically, and I don't want to get too much into this case because I think although it's coming up in the collective for it to be examined right now, it's really just a sort of microcosm in the macrocosm. It's just one small example of this energy coming through. And that is a lack of empathy. And very specifically with the old devil there, I think the old devil is drawing our attention to not just a lack of empathy, but the belief that empathy makes you weak. Empathy makes you a target, that you're not safe if you have empathy. This has actually been a theme that Spirit's been putting in front of me a lot lately. A refusal to harden our hearts in times of extreme difficulty. And I think I'm being challenged, and maybe this resonates for you. If you're drawn to this reading, it probably does. Oh, good. The yard work has stopped. Good. Now it's almost too quiet. Spirit has been, I think I'm being challenged in that when I saw all those posts on Facebook of people that I perceived to be lacking empathy, Spirit is perhaps challenging me a little bit to see it from a different perspective. That those people that I was casting judgment upon, that's me embodying this old devil energy, this lack of empathy, this sort of pearl clutching, feeling like there needs to be a villain, right? That was the thing. I don't want to talk about this case too much. I really didn't want to talk about it at all, but here we are. The thing about it is, it's not a black and white. It's not a black and white case and situation. And I think, well, actually, the melancholy card is pointing us in this direction. It's just sad. The whole thing, every aspect of it, every detail of it, the predominant emotion is grief, sadness, and to see a fellow human, in all of them, right? In the husband, in Lindsay herself, in the parents, even in the prosecutors and the defense attorney, like everyone's a human. And the whole thing is just deeply, profoundly sad. And I think we try to protect ourselves from that grief. And so, in the attempt to protect ourselves from that grief, and I say attempt that way because we always fail at it, grief will be felt. You will grieve. But in our attempt to prevent ourselves from having to feel that, we create this hardened armor. Feeling the grief, confronting it, looking at it, seeing it, deliverance, being delivered from it, repenting for it, so to speak. Sometimes you'll find I use religious terms. I do not mean them in the religious way, and I could stop myself and explain what I mean every time, but I feel like that might get a bit tedious. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask in the comment section below. In this particular case, when I mean deliverance, and specifically not just in the case of Lindsay Clancy, but kind of atoning for all of our sins. She's sort of serving as this mirror for so much darkness in this world. Like, she's a concentration point of so much darkness. The darkness that she's felt, the darkness that she channeled, and it's just, I think if we remain grounded, and oh boy, am I glad I did this outside, because just breathing the air and feeling Mother Earth beneath me, there's this grounding energy coming through. When we stay grounded and we don't fear our hearts or our shadows or our demons, right? The old devil. We don't fear it, but yet instead we allow ourselves to face it and confront it. I don't think there's any need for anger. Certainly no need for this weird tribalism that we always do. This us versus them for some reason. And my God, I'm so sick of this. Anytime anything happens, it becomes the political tribes, right? I can kind of tell what you think or believe based on, if I know how you vote. And it shouldn't, we got to get past that, man. We have got to get past that. This immediate jumping into making things tribal. We're breaking ourselves off from what we're feeling in our hearts. And we're running. We're trying to stop the grieving process from happening by playing tough guy and going to war on social media. And all the while, beneath that, I love that deliverance card. I'm not going to point at the cards because I'm kind of far away from the table, but if we really look at that deliverance card, I'm also noticing now, I don't love a little bit of it's a weird card to get when you're talking about the Lindsay Clancy case. I didn't do that on purpose. Oopsies. But what I was going to say is the armor in the deliverance card. Yeah. Like, we think we're going to spare ourselves the pain of grief. And again, I'm just using my experience on Facebook as an example, as one example of this, just one small example of this larger fire of purification, I'm wanting to say, that we're walking through. And we wear this armor. We think we're going to keep ourselves safe. We think we're going to keep the pain, the melancholy at arm's length, and we're not. We're still in that fire. What's interesting? I'm noticing these cards too. We've got deliverance and melancholy facing each other. And then the old devil is off by himself, kind of looking over his shoulder at the two of them. Ooh, another interesting thing. I mean, I'm assuming. So the deliverance card, I'm assuming that's a man in there. Obviously, the melancholy card has a woman. So there's a little bit of masculine and feminine energy coming through here as well. The feminine, this is ending up really being about the Lindsay Clancy case, which again was not my intention. I hesitate to even title. I probably won't title the reading to have anything to do with her because I just don't. So if you're here, it's a little bit of an interesting synchronicity if it's been coming up for you too. Sometimes I try to avoid things that are happening in the world. I'm like, I want no part of any of this. So I started seeing little bits and pieces of it popping up on my news feeds, and I was like, no, 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 I'm not. And yet, calling myself out now, just trying to prevent myself from feeling, right? A little bit of running from emotion there, just confessed to. But point being, we've got deliverance and melancholy facing each other. The melancholy card I'm getting as a representation for the divine feminine and feminine energy in general, which I think makes a ton of sense because that does seem to be not exclusively, but a very predominant emotion coming through in the women that are bearing witness to this case. There is a profound sadness. Profound sadness. The thing I was picking up on the most from this group is feeling unseen and unheard. And my God, the depth of pain. The depth of pain at feeling like no one sees you or understands you. It is, and man, that is a darkness. The feeling like no one sees you in your darkest moment of pain and you are alone in it, that will produce a darkness that is almost unbearable. And I really wish it is something that you have to feel to understand. So on the other side of this coin, I know when we look at the masculine card, those embodying more of the masculine energy in this case, there's a little bit of desire for punishment, right? Desire for retribution. Sort of, what is it? Hellfire and fury energy. And I get it. I get it. We want to make sure that our legal system does its job. And when someone does something that's unthinkable, we need to make sure, we need to know that there's accountability. I don't even want to say punishment because but there has to be accountability. We have to take accountability for our words and our actions, even if we didn't mean them, or even if in this case there was an extreme amount of suffering. But I will say, I don't know. I don't know if any, well, I'm sure there are some people because the internet's a vast, vast place of craziness. I have not observed a ton of people hoping for or calling for a lack of accountability. So, for what it's worth. But I get it. I understand from that crowd. I would say in the masculine crowd, though, these two sides, the deliverance and the melancholy, they're talking over each other. And where I would say the deliverance crowd is maybe causing more pain, perhaps that they don't really even mean to, but it is being caused, is in the inability to see someone in their darkest hour and to know what that means. You know, empathy, I think empathy is spoken about as though it means, you know, being nice to people. To have empathy is to see. If you're drawn to this reading, you're a seer. So you probably are, I'm probably preaching to the choir when it comes to this. But that's always been an interesting thing for me with empathy is that I really think people get it wrong a lot. And I think they think it means just being nice. But no, what it means is that when you look at somebody who is suffering, you know what that feels like. And maybe it's one of those things that you have to go through it before you can. You know, I haven't been through that exact scenario, but I have certainly suffered and felt alone in that suffering. And I would argue, I think being alone in the suffering is worse than the original thing you were suffering from in the first place. Actually, I know it is. Feeling alone here on this planet, it's almost unavoidable. And I think as seers, we get that because you and I probably have a tendency to have higher, we have the ability for more empathy. We can be more empathetic. It's a heightened sense. And I would say to you, if sometimes, because I know I do this, I get frustrated as hell when I'm like, I can do it. Why can't you? You know what I mean? Like, I can look at both sides of this, of the reactions about this case, and I can understand both of you. Like, I can truly empathize with both of you. I could sit across the table from someone on either side of this, and I would make them feel seen. I know I can do that. Even if I profoundly disagreed with a perspective they had, I know I can make them feel seen. So then you can kind of say to yourself, well, like, if I can do it, why can't everybody? And you can get frustrated, right? Especially, well, there's a hummingbird. Aw. I'm sure that means something. I'll figure it out. But if you get frustrated at people who can't display empathy, firstly, I understand that. I also feel that a lot. What I would say to you, and what Spirit has often said to me, is that you have a gift. Your ability to see, perceive energy, to see someone's shadows, someone's patterns, someone's soul, someone's heart, and then to display that, that is a gift. You have a gift. You are very, very good at something. And I think a lot of times when humans have physical gifts, we have an easier time being like, oh, okay, I'm really good at this because I'm good at it. You know, if I was really good at basketball, I wouldn't get mad at someone because they can't shoot a basket. You know what I mean? It wouldn't make a ton of sense. I'd probably have a little bit more patience because I understand, like, I'm really good at this. And so what I would maybe offer to you is to give yourself the credit that is due, that you are really good at this. This being empathy, this being the ability to see other people and energy. And you need to take accountability for the fact that it's a gift and you have it. And the reason is, it's not just to be like, oh wow, look, I'm so great at this thing. It's because when you fail to see that this is a strength of yours, you're driving yourself crazy expecting everyone else to be able to do it. And there is something to be said with, like, all right, guys, I get it. We're all growing and learning. Let's pick it up a little bit. Let's try a little harder in the empathy department. And again, empathy is not being nice. Like, let's see each other. Let's ask more questions. And yeah, we all need to get better at that. So if you're in a relationship with a grown-ass adult who is profoundly lacking skills of empathy, a little bit of a different consideration. But when we look at society as a whole, and we're kind of like, all right, what's going on here, guys? Remember that you have a gift. You have a gift that not everyone else has. That old devil energy, he's on his way out. He's walking away. You know what else, though? I want to say something that's giving me some meddling energy. Almost like this old devil was just getting in between deliverance and melancholy and being like, you know what? Let me start some shit. And now he's walking away, looking over his shoulder, being like, good, they're arguing. There's something meddling with our divine feminine and masculine in the collective. Something intentionally provoking. Some sort of, I don't like to focus on spiritual attack because I think it gets a bit too fantastical a bit too quickly. Also a bit too victim consciousness as well in some circles. But there are things. There are spiritual things. Some that mean to help us, the guides we work with, and some that would meddle. So I just wanted to call attention to that. I think symbolically the old devil is the old energy that's on its way out, and how the folks that are feeling the deliverance energy, that there needs to be justice, there needs to be accountability, but also veering into the more angry side of things, the sort of unbridled, unhealthy anger, that's a fire that is purifying those folks and that energy. And then the melancholy as well, that deep, deep, profound suffering of feeling like someone cannot see you and that you are alone in your suffering. There is a tremendous amount of grief that that crowd is needing to feel. So we're all, and you might be somewhere in the middle. You might be, you might be able to feel this on both sides. But wherever you find yourself, there is an energy of purification happening. Not a coinky dink that it's happening during this eclipse as well. Okay, let me get some more cards, and I'm just going to toss these right on top of each other here. And I have to adjust my microphone, so sorry if the audio gets a bit funky. Okay, let me grab an archetype card here, and just Spirit, just take me in whatever direction you would like to go. Oh, there it is. Ooh. So that is Thanatos. And I want to say, and I might be wrong about, I have the Shaman on the bottom of the deck as well here. So I believe the Thanatos card is death, but not death in a literal sense. It is death in a it's a spiritual death. It is a death that needs to occur. If I'm wrong about that, I will insert a little clip here, or a little maybe I'll put a pinned comment if there's any. If I look at the book definition of Thanatos, I need to add anything. But immediately, I'm just going to read this as that death, that karmic death, that needing. Okay, so there's a spider web. Obviously, it's a sticky energy. That, and I put it right on top of melancholy, and I think that's for a reason, because I think the primary thing that I've been picking up on this week is the suffering of feeling like no one sees you, that you are alone in this. A shamanic initiation of sorts. And I think there's a lot of people going through that shamanic initiation right now. You are very likely one of them. If you're resonating with this, you definitely are. And we're untangling the web. It's funny. It's actually a funny synchronicity there, because sometimes I'll observe something in the collective, and I think this Lindsay Clancy case has definitely been one of them, where I'm like, this is so tangled. The web is so tangled. I don't even want to try to untie these knots. And there are moments where I have to let it go. Right? I just give it to Spirit, and I'm like, listen, I can't. I can't clear someone else's karma. I can't carry someone else's baggage, and I certainly can't grieve someone else's grief. So I got to hand this back to you, because I'm trying to untangle knots that aren't mine. And I will say that, I'm a big fan, and I think Spirit would co-sign this, of using things that happen in the collective to learn and to grow and to feel. But there does come a time where it's not yours, and you can't untangle those knots. And we are experiencing a process. The energy this week has just felt extremely dense. Extremely dense. And I think the message is that we have to allow things to play out the way they're playing out, and to release and surrender that need to be the one that unties the knot, because it's not your job. Okay, I would like to get one more archetype card here. I don't know if I have any questions other than, again, Spirit, what would you have us know? What would you have us do? Ooh, the forest. And I also have the village. So the village is where you come from. The forest, also have the vision. And we've got some color synchronicities there. So the village is where you've come from, who you once were, where you have come from in the past. Your village is your tribe, is the people. Specifically, I'm also getting like family karma, right? Karma from your familial line. And the forest is, it's about getting lost, losing yourself, exploring. You're fully surrendered when you're in the forest, you're camping in a tent in the middle of the forest. Very easy to get lost. And you're at the mercy of a lot of things. It's a profoundly spiritual experience. Actually, being lost in wilderness, though I don't recommend initiating that. But if it happens to you, it is a profoundly spiritual experience. It's only ever happened to me once, and it was very, very short-lived, and I was not alone. I was with my husband. We got lost. It was not that dramatic. We just got lost a little bit in a hiking trip. We almost immediately found our way back. So it's okay. But for that very brief, well, I got a car passing. For that very brief moment where I was disoriented and didn't know which way to go, it's simultaneously terrifying. And also, your body is so relaxed because you're in nature. It's a wild experience, literally wild. And it's deeply profound and deeply mysterious. And I think that is a very good way of explaining what humanity is experiencing right now. We're moving on from the village, from the karma of the past. Every eclipse season, is about purging past karmas, but it's heightened right now. Oh, we got a little visitor. Who are you? This little bug. I think I scared him. We're moving beyond the karma from the past. And it's a period of unknown. Now, that vision card, it's all about purifying the third eye. Our ability to see is being enhanced. So if that gives you any motivation, if you've been struggling this week to keep going, to keep fighting, let that be the motivation that through each of the struggles that we face, I know this to be true in my own life, without a doubt. It's tough. To walk this path is tough. To be a seer in this world is very tough. You've set the intention to start waking up out of a very, very convincing dream. And it's not easy. There's a reason that ancient practices of shamanic initiation were so extreme. And we're going through that now, kind of on a collective scale, a smaller collective for sure. We're doing it without a guide, at least without a physical guide. I would say you definitely have guides, and the angels are here to support us through this. But it's tough. And but the encouragement, the reason to keep going is that through the difficulties, your third eye emerges, and you will be able to see more clearly. Some days you will wish you didn't. No, it's worth it. It's always worth it in the end. If for no other reason than curiosity, there's this desire within so many of us to see, to know, to experience. And I think that's what's leading us. I think that's the motivation and the reason why. Okay, I will end this reading with a tarot card now. Spirit, what would you like me to end this on? This has been a very all over the place. Oops, dropped it. One sec here. We've got the Nine of Swords, which is immediately your fears are an illusion. I mean, that's the literal guidebook definition of this card. Your fears are an illusion. I'm wanting to take this a step farther because this card's about your fear being an illusion, but if you look at this Nine of Swords, this woman is crying. She's grieving. And if she would just look up, she would see that the crows, and I always take this to be the thoughts, right? The Nine of Swords. The thoughts that she thinks are swirling around are but an illusion. And then the second card we have, the card of the Lovers, the card of choice. Not just choice, but a sovereign choice. It's a couple different ways to read the Lovers. Of course, we've got the lovers, meaning two people in love with each other. There's also the Adam and Eve interpretation. And specifically with the Lovers, the interpretation that we have a choice in the matter. It's a representation of free will, humans' free will. And I think paired with the Nine of Swords, Spirit's asking this question of, are we using our free will appropriately, responsibly? To know the power of our own thoughts, but not just the thoughts that float. You know, I think sometimes within the spiritual community, this idea of controlling your thoughts, it's not about controlling the stray thoughts. We'll never be able to do that. That will drive us mad. It's a question of which ones do you believe? Which ones do you give power to? When the thoughts arise, which ones do you grab and latch onto and follow and create more from? That's the part where we have sovereignty and autonomy, the choice. So to end this, Spirit is wanting us to remember the power of that choice. Remember, seer, you have a gift. You have a gift that not everyone else has. And to quote Spider-Man, I didn't think I would be doing this, but that's kind of the theme of today. And also, what a cute, silly, goofy way to end this reading. With great power, say it with me. Say it with me now. With great power comes great responsibility. So let's use our gifts wisely. And also, I'm wanting to say, not let them use us. We don't need to fear Facebook. It's giving way too much power to the stray thoughts, to the old devil. All right, friends, I will leave it here for today. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one.